We're putting on anhydrous. Look at that sexy car. There's Jared. There's Dad over there. They're getting after it. Now, I'm not putting on anhydrous, but Jared and Dad are. Got a few days until Thanksgiving. Actually 3 days. It's supposed to rain the day before Thanksgiving, so we're trying to get as much gas as we can put on. Right now, I'm heading out with the 90/20 and the disc. We're gonna go work the corn stalks in that last field we combined of corn. And, well, not all the corn stalks, but mainly just the ruts from where the combine went. Since it was muddy, those final days of corn. As you can tell, the 90/20 is already a little bit muddy, and that's because I already did a little bit of disking with it, and I found a pretty nice wet spot. No good. Which that was yesterday. Today it seems like things are pretty dry. So it is 2 o'clock right now. It isn't early in the morning. I've already been out and disked a little bit. But I had a dentist appointment to get my teeth cleaned, so I had to go to that. So yeah, slowly but steadily we're gonna.
This is our 3rd year of doing it all themselves.
We're gonna be heading out there. It's a long ways away, so hopefully everything goes smoothly.
Sure.
Talking. So yesterday and this morning I've spent working ground that has been cleared off with the dozers, working it up. Mainly that ground's gonna be corn. I need to stop talking. Most of that ground is gonna be corn, so I'm working it so that they can get across it with the anhydrous bars easier, and it's nice and smooth. We'll probably hit those spots again with the discavator come springtime. So now I'm moving on to corn stalks. I'm just gonna work where we mudded out some corn, and then I'm also, we like hitting the bottoms that have high residue of corn stalks. We like hitting those just so it breaks down easier during the winter. Most of your YouTubers that you see, or bigger YouTubers, they work everything in the fall and then come in the spring and work again. That's not really a practice that we do around here anymore. When my dad was young and my grandpa was farming, that's what they would do. They'd work every acre, but now we're mainly no-till, mainly because of our hills, and we got terraces and things wash away. So for the most part, in the hilly areas, we don't really like touching it too much with equipment, with tillage equipment, just because we don't want it to wash away. But in the bottoms, where there's high residue, we like working it so it breaks down easier in the winter. Hopefully you guys kind of understand what I'm saying there. I'd say next video I'll be helping more with that whole anhydrous stuff, probably pulling tanks around. So we're hoping to get quite a bit of anhydrous put down so that we can get some of the loads of anhydrous we've ordered in our storage. So we've got a few loads that is ordered. They can't ship it to us yet because we're already full in storage. So all our anhydrous tanks are full. So we're trying to get some acres knocked out before the rain, because you never know whenever we're going to be shut down from anhydrous. One good rain can end it for the rest of the winter. So I mean, we're already like 2-3 weeks later than what we normally would be putting on anhydrous, especially for just starting. And the radio's beeping. Let's go disc. We are at the field. I am working up where the grain cart went back and forth a lot of times. I was carting a hopper at a time out of the back here. So the grain cart was going back and forth on this quite a few times, packing it down, especially since it was muddy. But we're gonna work it up and it'll be ready to rock and roll for next year. There's a few spots I'm gonna hit back there where the combine dug in a little bit deeper than normal, just because of how wet it was. So really just coming in and cleaning it up and kind of breaking open this hard packed soil and trying to get rid of some of those ruts that the combine or the grain cart might have left behind. I'll just say it was a little muddy here, so I'm working in these ruts, which there's no ruts like out in the field. It's just where we've traveled more than once. It leaves trails, so I am working them up. There is a few places out in the field. I know a few terraces that will have a little wet spot that I need to work. But other than that, it's mainly just these trails. I think this one's really bad mainly because one day Dad came out here and tried combining, and it just wasn't quite dry enough for him to combine without leaving ruts everywhere. So, which I'll work it up, make it nice and smooth. This is rented ground, so we want it to look nice for the owner. Also, this will make it a heck of a lot easier to plant into next spring. We'll probably work it with the discavator, smooth it up a little bit more, but other than that, it's not really that big a deal. Just a few spots that just need to be hit. Wish I could show you the disc and what it's doing, but the sun's facing the wrong way. Whenever I run back over this trail, I'll show you what it's up to. But yeah, pretty peaceful. There we go, wide angle lens of working it up. I need to flip around and go back and grab a little bit more. There's a few more little pathways that need to be worked in. They're working up pretty nicely. That needs to be ran over at least one more time. But yeah, satisfying job as long as everything goes smoothly and don't have any problems. So it's doing a great job. I'm happy with it. 90/20's dirty again, sadly. Mason got it all nice and clean and had put a little tree in it, and now I've got it dirty again. Yeah, this terrace channel and those below it, I already knew that they had some pretty deep ruts in them from where the combine went, because these 3 terraces take a lot of water, so I knew I'd had to take a swipe inside their terrace channel. A little bit of water sits right there, so it was a little muddy, but I got through it, which is good. Got those ruts worked up. It'll be a nice seed bed if we clean it all up. If I clean it all up, all the terrace, or all the ruts. Okay, here's another one. Whatever day Dad tried to combine, when it was too wet, that's where these big ruts have came from. The rest haven't been too bad. Honestly, that wasn't This is a little spot that needs to be worked. I'll work that and then I'll go back on this terrace channel because all these rows on this hillside end with this terrace channel, so it means this is where the combine's flipping around a lot, so that's where it'll bridge up a little bit and leave ruts. You guys can tell. Those really aren't too bad. But over here on this end, they're a little bit worse. So I'll work them under and make everything look pretty. It's looking good. Just a little bit of mud, don't worry about it. Got the old case disc out. I have a love-hate relationship with it. Some days I love it, some days it's on my nerves. But really it just depends on mud. Mud's not good. It's not too bad out here, it's just still a little damp. But I really don't think it's gonna get any drier, so hopefully we'll get through this. Yeah. It's a little cloddy. I wish we had a tool that we could run everything over in the fall and not even have to touch it in the spring, but I don't really know if there's actually a tool out there for that. This disc just puts it into chunks. But it's also really damp, so if it was drier, it wouldn't be in clumps. It would be actually little tiny chunks, maybe. Wouldn't be in mud clots. But yeah, I gotta run the rear disc so there's a tilt in the middle. I gotta run it towards the rear a little bit more with this tractor because of how high the tongue is. So there's a hydraulic adjustment for the tilt of the disc. You want the front and the back to be pretty well equal, unless there's a certain job you're wanting to do something different with. I always try to keep it equal because that always makes it do the best job. Now these wheels on the outside, I've never really messed with adjusting them, but I feel like I'm gonna eventually try lowering them down a little bit. So whenever that wing gets up on a terrace, I want it to pick that blade up, those blades on the outside up more, because it's been, when I get on the terrace, it's been cutting into it a little bit, and I'm not a big fan of that. So I don't know. I always thought they were just a joke, but now I kind of want to mess with them a little bit. It's just a crank up and down, but I think I'm gonna crank it just a little bit and see if that helps. See, if I run it over twice, it does a pretty good job. Sorry, it's pretty rough here. But yeah, if I run it over twice, it does a pretty dang good job, so that's what I'm doing. Looks good. Looks a heck of a lot better than having ruts everywhere, so I'm gonna hit this twice and then move on to the next patch right there in the middle, and then all the way over to the other side. So I'm already about halfway done with this farm. Really, there's not that many ruts out there in the field. Actually, it's just where they travel a lot. So yeah. Sun looks pretty going down. I tell you what, yesterday it was about 60 degrees, and today it's maybe 20. So that was definitely a change. A big change. A little ditch there. Work it up a little bit. I'll put you guys down and get to doing that. Well, this is a different scenery than the last clip. It got really dark real quick. Got dark about 5. Now I'm pulling in hydrous tanks. I got a car coming up on me. I'm pulling empty anhydrous tanks back over to our anhydrous, our big tanks, our big bulk tanks, so I can fill them up tomorrow morning. Yeah, I can't find ruts in the dark, so I'm pulling these over here. Yeah, I think I'll make it over here to George's before that car's up on my butt. Hopefully. Just right there. I think that's Jared back there running. Not bad for the first day of anhydrous. And a big shout out to all our shout out crew members for them supporting this channel. If you want to support this channel and become a member, check it out in the link in the description below.